The giant spaceship from Earth moved slowly into the docking area of Harmony Station. Inside the ship, John Carter looked out the window at the strange aliens moving around the station. Some had 6 legs, others floated in the air. A few looked like walking trees. John had never seen anything like this before. "First time seeing aliens up close?" asked Maria Lopez, who stood next to him. She was tall, with dark hair tied back in a neat ponytail. Her blue uniform showed she was part of Earth's Space Force, just like John. "Yes," John said, his eyes wide. "I trained for 2 years to join this mission, but nothing prepares you for seeing them in real life." Maria smiled. "Wait until you meet the Zolarians. They're the ones who invited us here. They look like giant blue birds with 4 arms. The ship made a soft bump as it connected to the station. Captain Lisa Foster walked up to John and Maria. "Time to meet our hosts," she said. "Remember, we are here to make friends. The Zolarians want to learn about humans. They are very interested in our culture." John, Maria, and 20 other humans walked off the ship into Harmony Station. The eerie air smelled different, cleaner somehow. The gravity felt lighter, too. John felt like he could jump twice as high as normal. A group of tall blue creatures waited for them. They had feathers instead of hair. Their skin looked shiny, almost like metal. Each had 4 long arms and 2 thin legs. Their eyes were large and gold-colored. One Zolarian stepped forward. "Welcome, humans. I am Ambassador Zex. We are happy you have come to share your culture with us." The translator box on his chest turned his strange clicks and whistles into English. Captain Foster bowed slightly. "Thank you for inviting us. We brought many things to show you about Earth." The humans followed the Zolarians to a large room. Inside were tables with food, drinks, and gifts from Earth. One table had balls, bats, and other sports equipment. "What are these objects?" asked a female Zolarian named Kira. She picked up a baseball with her upper right hand. "Those are for playing sports," explained John. "Sports are games humans play for fun and exercise." The Zolarians gathered around the sports table. They seemed more interested in these items than anything else. "Please explain these sports to us," said Ambassador Zex. Captain Foster nodded to John. "Show them the videos we brought." John turned on a screen and played videos of different Earth sports. The Zolarians watched with great interest as they saw humans playing football, basketball, hockey, and baseball. "The humans hit each other," said one Zolarian in shock when watching football. "Why do they fight over the ball?" asked another, watching basketball. "These are not fights," John explained. "These are games. The contact is part of the fun." Zolarians looked at each other with confused expressions. Then they turned to Captain Foster. "We wish to try these sports ourselves," said Ambassador Zex. "Will you teach us?" Captain Foster looked worried. "I'm not sure that's a good idea. Humans and Zolarians have different bodies. Our sports might be dangerous for you." This made the Zolarians even more interested. "We did not know humans played dangerous games for fun," said Kira. "Now we must try them. We want to understand humans better." Captain Foster looked at her team. Maria shrugged. John looked excited. "We could teach them something simple," John suggested. "Like softball. It's safer than most sports." "Very well," said Captain Foster after thinking for a minute. "We will set up a game of softball, but we will make it very gentle." The next day, humans and Zolarians met in a large, empty area of the station. The humans had marked the ground with bases and set up simple equipment. "The rules are simple," John explained to the group of 10 Zolarians who wanted to play. "You hit the ball with this bat, then run around these bases." He showed them how to hold the bat. The Zolarians practiced swinging the bats. Their 4 arms made it awkward. "Maybe use just 2 arms, suggested Maria, showing them. The Zolarians tried again, using only their upper arms. They did better this time. "Now we will pitch the ball very slowly," said John. "Try to hit it." The first Zolarian, a male named Torque, stepped up to the plate. John threw the ball very gently. Torque swung and missed. "Try again," said John. John pitched again. This time, Torque hit the ball. It flew high into the air. "Run to first base," shouted Maria. Torque looked confused, then started running. His thin legs moved quickly, but he seemed unsteady. He reached first base and stopped. "Good job," said John. The next Solarian, Kira, stepped up. She hit the ball on her first try. It went far into the outfield. Torque ran to second base while Kira ran to first. "They're getting it," Maria said to Captain Foster, who watched from the side. The game continued. The Solarians began to understand the rules and enjoy themselves. Then something unexpected happened. It was Ambassador Zex's turn to bat. John pitched the ball. Zex hit it hard, much harder than any of the other Solarians. The ball flew toward the outfield where a human named Peter tried to catch it. Both Peter and Zex ran fast. They didn't see each other until it was too late. They crashed into each other with a loud thud. Peter fell down but quickly got back up. Ambassador Zex didn't move. "Ambassador!" Captain Foster ran to him. The other Solarians gathered around. Zex's body looked wrong. One of his arms bent in a strange direction. Blue liquid leaked from his nose. "Get a doctor!" shouted Captain Foster. A Solarian doctor arrived quickly. She examined Ambassador Zex. "His main bone structure is damaged," she said. "His inner air sacs are ruptured. This is very serious." The Solarians carefully lifted Ambassador Zex and took him away to their medical area. Captain Foster and her team followed, looking worried. "I didn't know they were so fragile," whispered John to Maria. "Humans evolved on a planet with high gravity," Maria said. "It made our bones and muscles stronger. The Solarians come from a low-gravity world. Their bodies aren't built for impacts." In the medical area, the humans waited outside while the Solarian doctors worked on Ambassador Zex. After an hour, Kira came out to speak with them. "Ambassador Zex will recover," she said. The humans sighed with relief. "But he will need many days to heal." "We are very sorry," said Captain Foster. "We should not have played the game." "No," said Kira firmly. "We asked to learn about humans. Now we understand something important about you. You are Deathworlders." "What does that mean?" asked John. "It means you come from a harsh planet that made your bodies tough and strong," explained Kira. "We come from a gentle world, but we still want to learn your sports." Captain Foster shook her head. "It's too dangerous." "We will find a way," said Kira. "Perhaps we can wear protective gear or modify the games, but we will learn to play like humans do." As they talked, none of them knew that this simple game of softball was just the beginning. The Solarians would face much greater challenges as they continued to learn about human sports, and the humans would learn that the gentle aliens were tougher than they looked. 3 days after the softball accident, Ambassador Zex called for a meeting with the humans. John and Maria walked into the meeting room, surprised to see the ambassador sitting up. His damaged arm was in a special healing device that glowed with soft blue light. "Ambassador, you look much better," said Captain Foster. "We are still very sorry about what happened." Zex raised his good hand. "Do not be sorry. We have made a decision. We still want to learn human sports." The humans looked at each other with worry. "But it's dangerous for you," said John. "Your bodies are not built like ours." "This is true," said Kira, who stood beside Zex. "But we have a solution." She waved to another Solarian, who brought in what looked like a thin suit of armor. It was made of a light blue material that seemed to glow from within. "This is a protection suit," explained Kira. "Our scientists have been working on it since the accident. It will strengthen our bodies and protect us from impacts." Captain Foster examined the suit. "Impressive, but will it be enough?" "We believe so," said Zex. "And we have another idea. We want to play in lower gravity. Your bodies are used to Earth gravity. Ours are not. If we play sports in gravity between Earth and Zolaria, it will be safer for us, and still challenging for you." The humans talked among themselves. Finally, Captain Foster nodded. "We can try. There is a recreation area on level 3 of the station where the gravity can be adjusted, but we should start with a non-contact sport. Volleyball," suggested Maria. "It has a net between the teams, so there's less chance of crashing into each other." Everyone agreed to the plan. The next day, they met in the recreation area. 6. Zolarians wearing the new protection suits stood on one side of a volleyball net. John, Maria, and 4 other humans stood on the other side. The gravity was set to 0.7 Earth normal. The humans felt light, like they could jump very high. The Zolarians still felt it was heavy, but better than full Earth gravity. Here are the basic rules, explained John. The ball must go over the net. Each team can touch the ball up to 3 times before sending it over. Don't let the ball touch the ground on your side. He demonstrated by serving the ball over the net. Kira moved forward and hit it back awkwardly with 2 of her hands. Good, called Maria. But try to hit it up so your teammates can set up an attack. The Zolarians learned quickly. Their forearms gave them advantages once they understood how to use them. After an hour of practice, they were ready for a real game. First team to 15 points wins, said John, serving the ball. The game started slow, with both teams making mistakes. The Zolarians had trouble moving quickly in the protection suits. The humans had to adjust to the lower gravity, often jumping too high and missing the ball. The score was 5-4 for the humans when something changed. The Zolarians began to work as a team. Torque, a tall male, used his height to block human attacks. Kira moved quickly, setting up balls for others to spike. Zex, even with his injured arm, played well with his remaining 3 arms. The score became 7-7, then 10-8 for the Zolarians. The humans played harder. They're really good, said Maria, sweating as she dove for a ball. The game grew more intense. The Zolarians moved faster in their suits, and the protection seemed to work. When they fell or bumped into each other, the suits glowed brighter for a moment, absorbing the impact. The score was 14-12 for the Zolarians. They needed just 1 more point to win. John served a difficult ball. Torque returned it high. Maria jumped and spiked the ball hard toward an open spot on the Zolarian side. Kira dove for the ball. Her protection suit flashed brightly as she hit the floor, but she kept the ball up. Another Zolarian set it high, and Zex jumped to spike it. As he hit the ball, something in his suit made a strange sound. The ball flew over the net too fast for the humans to react. It hit the floor with a loud bang. Game point, called Captain Foster, who was watching. The Zolarians win, 15-12. The Zolarians made happy trilling sounds, their way of cheering. The humans clapped and congratulated them. But then John noticed something wrong with Zex. Ambassador, your suit. Zex looked down. His suit was flashing red near his chest. Suddenly he collapsed to the floor. Everyone rushed to him. The Zolarian doctor scanned him with a medical device. The suit malfunctioned, she said. It stopped protecting his internal air sacs. The effort of the game put too much pressure on them. They carried Zex to the medical area again. This time, the humans waited even longer for news. After 2 hours, Kira came out. He will live, she said. But this was more serious than the first injury. We should stop, said Captain Foster firmly. No more sports. Kira shook her head. No. The ambassador has given clear orders. We will continue. But why? Asked John. Why is this so important to you? Kira was quiet for a moment. I will show you something. She led John and Maria to a room they hadn't seen before. Inside was a large screen showing images of Zolaria, the alien homeworld. It looked beautiful. Floating cities among colorful clouds. Zolarians flying between them with small wing devices. Our world is gentle, said Kira. Our lives are long and comfortable. But many of us feel something is missing. She touched the screen, changing the image to show Earth. Mountains, oceans, forests, and deserts appeared. Your world shaped you, made you strong, made you face challenges every day. This gives humans something we don't have, resilience, the ability to face difficulty and grow from it. John began to understand. And you think playing our sports will give you that? Yes, said Kira. For thousands of years, we have avoided physical challenges. Our bodies became weaker. Our spirits too, perhaps. Now we meet humans and see what we have lost. Maria nodded slowly. So this isn't just about games. It's about changing your people. Exactly, said Kira. And we will not give up, even if it's dangerous. When they returned to the others, Captain Foster was talking with her team. We need to find a safer sport, she was saying. Something with minimal physical contact. I have an idea, said John. Swimming. Everyone looked at him. Swimming is low impact, he explained. The water supports your body, and Zolarians might be good at it with their light bones and 4 arms. Kira's eyes widened. We have never tried swimming. Solaria has few large bodies of water. The station has a pool for exercise, said Maria. We could try it tomorrow. Later that night, John and Maria talked in the human quarters. Do you think this is going to work? Asked Maria, or will they just keep getting hurt? John stared out the window at the stars. I'm not sure, but I understand them better now. They're trying to change themselves, become stronger. Like how humans have always pushed our limits, said Maria. Exactly. Maybe we can help them do it safely. Neither of them knew that the next day's swimming lesson would bring a whole new set of challenges, and that the determination of the Zolarians would be tested in ways none of them expected. The next morning, John woke up early. He couldn't stop thinking about the swimming lesson planned for today. As he walked to the dining area, he saw Maria talking with Dr. Alan Ross, the human medical officer. I've looked at the Zolarian biology scans, Dr. Ross was saying. Their lungs work differently than ours. They have air sacs throughout their bodies, not just in the chest. Will that be a problem for swimming? Asked Maria. I'm not sure, said Dr. Ross. They might float very well because of the air sacs, or they might have trouble staying underwater. We'll need to be careful. John joined them. Ambassador Zex is coming too. He insisted, even though he's still healing. After breakfast, the humans and Zolarians met at the station's pool. It was large and blue with shallow and deep ends. The Zolarians looked at the water with great interest. What strange blue stuff, said Torque, peering into the pool. You don't have swimming pools on Zolaria? Asked John in surprise. We have small cleaning baths, said Kira, but nothing this big. Our cities float in the air, far above any bodies of water. The humans explained how to swim and demonstrated some basic strokes. The Zolarians watched carefully. The gravity here is set to 0.6 Earth normal, said Captain Foster. The water will feel different than on Earth, but it should be safer for the Zolarians. The Zolarians had special water-safe protection suits. They looked thinner than the volleyball suits, but glowed with the same blue light. One by one, the Zolarians entered the shallow end of the pool. The water feels strange, said Kira, moving, her 4 arms through it. But good. John stood in the water beside her. Try floating on your back. Just relax and let the water hold you up. Kira lay back. To everyone's surprise, she floated perfectly, like a leaf on water. Her air sacs made her naturally buoyant. This is wonderful, she said, her gold eyes wide with joy. Soon all the Zolarians were floating or moving slowly through the water. They seemed to love it. Their bodies, so fragile in Earth gravity, moved gracefully in the water. Try kicking your legs and pushing with your arms, suggested Maria. The Zolarians began to swim. With 4 arms, they moved through the water faster than humans. Their thin bodies cut through the water with little resistance. They're naturals, said Captain Foster, watching from the side. Even Ambassador Zex, who stayed in the shallow end because of his injuries, seemed to enjoy the water. His protection suit glowed softly as he moved his good arms through the water. This sport is perfect for them, John said to Maria. Low impact, but still good exercise. After an hour, the Zolarians were swimming confidently in the shallow end. Some wanted to try the deep end. I'll go with you, said John to Kira and Torque, who seemed the most confident. The 3 of them swam to where the pool floor sloped down. John showed them how to tread water when they couldn't touch the bottom. Use your arms and legs to keep your head above water, he explained. Kira and Torque copied him, their 4 arms moving in circles. They stayed up easily. This is simple for us, said Torque proudly. Our air sacs help us float. Then something unexpected happened. A station-wide announcement came over the speakers, causing a small wave in the pool. It wasn't dangerous, but it surprised Torque. He gasped, inhaling some water. Suddenly he began to sink. "Help!" he called, his voice gurgling. John immediately swam to him and grabbed his arm. But Torque was panicking, splashing wildly with all four arms. One hit John hard in the chest, pushing him away. "Torque, stop fighting," John called. "I can't help if you hit me." Kira swam over too. Between them, they managed to grab Torque and pull him toward the shallow end. By the time they reached it, Torque had stopped moving. They dragged him out of the pool and laid him on the deck. Water leaked from his mouth. Dr. Ross rushed over with the Zolarian doctor. "His main air sac is full of water," said the Zolarian doctor, scanning him. "The others are collapsing. Like drowning for humans, but faster," said Dr. Ross. "We need to get the water out." The Zolarian doctor quickly attached a small device to Torque's chest. It hummed and glowed, drawing water out through his mouth. After a tense minute, Torque coughed and opened his eyes. "What happened?" he asked weakly. "You nearly died," said Captain Foster, who looked very worried. "This is too dangerous. We need to stop." But Ambassador Zex shook his head. "No. We knew there would be risks. Torque will recover." "But we don't understand your biology well enough," argued Dr. Ross. "What looks safe might not be." "Then we will teach you about our biology," said Zex. "And learn more about yours. This is part of cultural exchange too." The next few days were spent differently. Instead of playing sports, the humans and Zolarians shared medical knowledge. The doctors from both species worked together to better understand how their bodies worked. "Look at this," said Dr. Ross, showing a 3D image of a human body to the Zolarians. "Our lungs are just in our chest. We breathe in and out through our mouth and nose." "Very different," said the Zolarian doctor. She showed an image of their body. "Our air sacs are throughout our body. We breathe in through small holes along our sides." This explained why water was so dangerous to them. If one air sac filled with water, it could affect all the others. While the doctors worked, John had an idea. He went to find Maria. "What if we combined our sports?" he suggested. "Take the best parts of human games but modify them for Zolarian bodies?" Maria thought about it. Like how basketball has the height element, which they'd be good at with their jumping ability but without the physical contact of football. "Exactly," said John. "And we could use elements of swimming too, since they're naturally good at it." They worked on the idea and presented it to Captain Foster and Ambassador Zex. They called it Aqua Leap, a game played in shallow water where players jump to put balls through hoops above the pool. "The water will cushion impacts," explained John. "And the Zolarians can use their natural jumping and floating abilities." Ambassador Zex liked the idea. "This is what we hoped for. Not just learning your ways, but creating something new together." Captain Foster agreed to try it, but with strict safety rules. The protection suits would be improved again. The water would be only chest deep. And medical staff would always be present. 2 days later, Torque was fully recovered. The doctors had learned much more about both species' bodies. The engineers had improved the protection suits based on this knowledge. "Are you ready to try our new game?" John asked Kira, as they prepared for the first Aqua Leap match. "Yes," she said. Her gold eyes showed determination. "We have not come this far to give up." The pool area had been modified. 6 hoops of different heights floated above the water. The teams would try to jump from the water and put soft balls through these hoops. As they prepared to play, John noticed something different about the Zolarians. They stood taller. Their movements were more confident. Even though they had faced dangers and injuries, they had changed. "They're stronger," whispered Maria, noticing the same thing. "Not just physically. Something inside them has changed." John nodded. "I think that's what they wanted all along." The first game of Aqua Leap was about to begin. Neither humans nor Zolarians knew what challenges they would face, but they were ready to face them together. The new game of Aqua Leap started with 6 Zolarians on one team and 6 humans on the other. John, Maria, and 4 other humans stood in chest-deep water on one side of the pool. Kira, Torque, and 4 other Zolarians stood on the other side. Ambassador Zex sat with Captain Foster at the edge of the pool to watch. Remember the rules, called John. Jump from the water to put the ball through a hoop. Higher hoops are worth more points. No touching other players. If you drop the ball, the other team gets it. A station worker dropped a soft blue ball into the center of the pool. Immediately, players from both teams swam toward it. Maria reached it first and passed it to John. He pushed through the water toward the nearest hoop. 2 Zolarians moved to block his path. John stopped and looked for another human to pass to. "Over here," called Samantha, another human player. John threw the ball to her. Samantha jumped from the water, pushing up with her legs. In the lower gravity, she rose high, but not high enough to reach the middle hoop she was aiming for. The ball hit the edge of the hoop and bounced back into the water. Torque grabbed it. With his 4 arms, he could move through the water very quickly. He swam to the middle of the pool, then passed to Kira. Kira held the ball with her lower arms and used her upper arms to push down on the water. She jumped much higher than Samantha had. Her thin body, lighter than a human's, rose easily in the low gravity. She put the ball through a high hoop. 3 points for the Zolarians, called Captain Foster, who was keeping score. The game continued. The humans quickly realized the Zolarians had big advantages in this game. Their 4 arms let them swim faster and jump higher. Their light bodies rose more easily out of the water. "We need to use team play more," John told his team during a short break. "We can't match their jumping ability." The humans changed their strategy. Instead of trying to score individually, they passed the ball quickly between team members, making the Zolarians swim back and forth. This tired the aliens, who were not used to long periods of exercise. By the middle of the game, the score was close. 12-10 for the Zolarians. Both teams were playing hard but safely. The protection suits were working well, glowing whenever a Zolarian moved suddenly or jumped high. Then the game changed again. The Zolarians started copying the humans' team strategy. They passed the ball quickly between team members, but with 4 arms each, they could throw and catch more easily than humans. "They learned fast," Maria said to John, breathing hard as she swam to block a pass. The Zolarians pulled ahead, 18-12, then 21-14. The humans tried their best, but the aliens seemed to get stronger as the game went on, not weaker. "Time for our secret play," John said to his team. The humans formed a circle in the water. When they got the ball, they started passing it around the circle very quickly. The Zolarians moved in, trying to intercept it. Then suddenly, all 6 humans jumped at once, creating a big wave. The wave pushed the Zolarians back, and in that moment John jumped from the center of the circle and scored through the highest hoop. 5 points for the humans, called Captain Foster. "That's 21-19 now." Ambassador Zex watched with great interest. "They adapted their strategy," he said to Captain Foster. "Just as we hoped they would." "What do you mean?" asked Captain Foster. "We knew humans were inventive under pressure," said Zex. "That is what we wanted to learn from you. Not just your games, but how you think when facing challenges." On the next play, the Zolarians tried a new strategy too. 3 of them linked their arms together, making a living platform. Kira stood on this platform and jumped. She went higher than any previous jump and scored easily. The game went back and forth like this. Each team kept inventing new strategies. The score was close. 26-24 for the Zolarians with just 2 minutes left to play. John had the ball. He swam to the middle of the pool, looking for a teammate to pass to. All were blocked by Zolarians. John decided to try for a difficult shot himself. He pushed down hard on the water and jumped. At the same moment, Torque jumped too, trying to block him. In mid-air, they collided. It wasn't a hard hit, but it was enough to knock both off balance. They fell back into the water awkwardly. John surfaced, quickly, unhurt. But Torque didn't come up. "Torque!" shouted Kira, swimming to where he had fallen. John dove under the water. He saw Torque sinking slowly, his protection suit flashing red warnings. John grabbed him and pulled him to the surface. They lifted Torque out of the pool. His protection suit was damaged on one side. The Zolarian doctor scanned him quickly. "A small tear in one air sac," she reported. "Not serious, but he should not continue playing." Everyone expected Captain Foster to end the game, but Ambassador Zex spoke first. Torque, how do you feel? He asked. Torque sat up slowly. I can breathe, the pain is not bad. Do you wish to stop playing? Asked Zex. Torque looked at the other Zolarians, then at the humans. No. I want to finish the game. The doctors strongly advised against it. Captain Foster looked worried, but Ambassador Zex raised his hand. This is Torque's choice, he said. We came here to learn about human resilience. Part of that is learning to continue despite small injuries. This isn't what we intended, said Captain Foster. We don't want anyone hurt. Humans play with injuries all the time, said Torque. I've watched videos of your sports. You call it playing through pain. I want to try this. The doctors finally agreed Torque could play, but only for the last minute of the game, and only if his suit was repaired first. The engineers quickly fixed the damaged suit. Torque returned to the pool, moving a bit more slowly than before. Are you sure about this? John asked him quietly. Yes, said Torque. For my people, this is important. The final minute of play was intense. Both teams scored once more. When the time ended, the score was 28-27 for the Zolarians. They had won by a single point. As they left the pool, John noticed something amazing. The Zolarians looked different. Their bodies, which had seemed so fragile just days ago, looked stronger. Their thin arms had more muscle. Their movements were more confident. Look at them, Maria said to John. They've changed physically. Dr. Ross scanned the Zolarians later that day. It's remarkable, he told Captain Foster. Their bone density has increased 15% since they arrived. Their muscle mass is up 20%. Even their air sacs are stronger with thicker walls. How is this possible in such a short time? Asked Captain Foster. Their bodies adapt very quickly, said Dr. Ross. Much faster than human bodies. They evolved this way to survive environmental changes on their homeworld. But they never used this ability for physical improvement before. They never needed to. That evening, John found Kira looking out a window at the stars. Your team played well today, he said. Thank you, she replied. We are learning much from humans. I think we're learning from you too, said John. Your determination is impressive. Kira turned to him. We have one more request. Before we leave the station, we want to try one more human sport. The most challenging one. Which one? Asked John, though he had a feeling he knew the answer. Football, said Kira. The most dangerous game we saw in your videos. John was silent for a moment. That's very risky. Even with your improved strength and the protection suits. We know, said Kira. But we want to try. Just once. John looked at the determined alien. He knew Captain Foster would argue against it. The doctors would too. But he also understood what the Zolarians were trying to do. They were pushing themselves to grow stronger, just as humans had done throughout their history. I'll talk to Captain Foster, he said finally, but no promises. What John didn't know was that Ambassador Zex had already made arrangements. The final sport would be played, but with some very special modifications, and it would change both species in ways none of them expected. 3 days later, John stood in a large empty area of the station. It had been changed to look like a football field but smaller. Strange machines sat at each corner of the field. Captain Foster stood beside John, looking unhappy. I still think, this is a bad idea, she said. Football is too dangerous for them. Ambassador Zex was very insistent, said John. And look at the changes they've made. The field had a soft, bouncy surface. The gravity was set to just 0.5 Earth normal, the lowest setting that still allowed normal movement. Most importantly, the Zolarians had completely redesigned their protection suits. The new suits were thicker and covered their entire bodies. They looked like a mix of armor and padding, with special reinforcement around the chest where their main air sacs were. The suits glowed with a stronger blue light than before. They've been working on these for days, said Maria, joining John and Captain Foster. The Zolarian engineers say they can absorb 3 times more impact than the old suits. I'm more worried about internal injuries, said Dr. Ross, who stood nearby with medical equipment. Their bones are stronger now, but still not as strong as ours. The door opened and the Zolarians entered. There were 10 of them, including Kira, Torque, and Ambassador, Zex himself. They walked differently now, more firmly with confident steps. Their bodies looked less fragile, with visible muscle beneath their feathered skin. "Are you ready for your final lesson in human sports?" asked Zex, his voice stronger than when they first met. "We're ready," said John. "But we've modified the rules to make it safer. No tackling. Just touch the player with the ball to stop them, and we'll play flag football rules." He showed the Zolarians the colored strips of cloth they would wear on their suits. Instead of tackling, players would pull these flags to down an opponent. "We understand," said Zex. "But we have a surprise too." He gestured to the machines at the corners of the field. "These are gravity modulators. They will create zones of different gravity on the field. Some areas will be Earth normal, some will be Zolarian normal. Players must adapt as they move through different zones." John looked surprised. "That sounds clever. It makes the game fair for both sides." Dr. Ross scanned the field with a device. "It seems safe enough. The transitions between zones are gradual. With both sides satisfied with the safety measures, the game began. 5 humans and 5 Zolarians took positions on the field. The other Zolarians and humans watched from the sides. John explained the basic rules again. The teams would take turns trying to move the ball to the opponent's end of the field. They could run with the ball or throw it to teammates. Each team would have 4 chances to move the ball 10 yards. The humans started with the ball. John took the snap and looked for an open teammate. The Zolarians spread out, covering the human receivers. John decided to run the ball himself. He ran forward into what felt like normal gravity. Then suddenly he felt heavier. He had entered an Earth gravity zone. His steps became harder, slower. A Zolarian defender moved quickly toward him in the Zolarian gravity zone. John tried to dodge but couldn't move fast enough. The Zolarian pulled his flag. "That's 1 down," called Captain Foster, who was acting as referee. On the next play, John passed the ball to Maria. She caught it and ran toward a gap in the defense. She passed through a Zolarian gravity zone and suddenly felt lighter, faster. She covered more ground with each step. But the Zolarians in this zone moved even faster, like they were in their natural environment. One caught up to Maria and pulled her flag. The game continued like this, with both teams learning to use the gravity zones to their advantage. The humans were stronger in Earth gravity zones but slower in Zolarian zones. The Zolarians were fast in their zones but struggled in Earth gravity. The score was close, 7-6 for the humans at halftime. Both teams were enjoying the challenge of adapting to the changing gravity. "Their solution was brilliant," Maria said to John during the break. "It makes the game fair and interesting for both sides." "And safer," added John. "No one has been hurt so far." The second half started with the Zolarians in possession. Kira took the ball and moved skillfully through the gravity zones. She had studied the field layout and knew exactly when to speed up or slow down. She scored a touchdown for the Zolarians, making the score 12-7. The humans responded with new tactics. They started using short, quick passes in the Earth gravity zones where they had more control. Then they would hand off to their fastest runners when entering Zolarian zones. With just 5 minutes left, the score was tied 14-14. The Zolarians had the ball. Torque took the snap and looked to pass. The human defenders covered all receivers. Torque decided to run. He entered an Earth gravity zone and immediately felt the crushing weight. His protection suit glowed brightly as it worked to support his body. 2 human defenders moved to intercept him. Everyone expected Torque to slow down or change direction. Instead, he lowered his shoulder and pushed harder. His 4 legs pumped with new strength. He broke through the Earth gravity zone, moving slower than in his natural gravity, but much faster than any Zolarian had moved in Earth gravity before. He reached a Zolarian gravity zone and shot forward like a bullet. No human could catch him now. He crossed the goal line for a touchdown. The Zolarians cheered loudly. The humans looked shocked. Torque had just done something they thought impossible. He had outmuscled humans in Earth gravity. The game ended 20-14 for the Zolarians. As the teams met in the middle of the field, John noticed something incredible. The Zolarians' protection suits were barely glowing. They didn't need as much support anymore. "You've changed," he said to Kira. "Yes," she replied. "Our bodies have adapted more than we thought possible. Not just stronger muscles and bones, but better coordination and reflexes too." Later, in the meeting room, Ambassador Zex explained more to Captain Foster and her team. "Our scientists studied the changes in our bodies," he said. "The physical challenges of your sports triggered ancient adaptive abilities in our species. Abilities we had forgotten after thousands of years of comfort. Like muscles that grow stronger with exercise," said Dr. Ross, "but much faster and more extensive." "Exactly," said Zex. "We evolved on a world with changing gravity and atmosphere. Our ancestors could adapt quickly to new conditions, but we stopped facing challenges, so we lost these abilities. Your sports awakened them again." Captain Foster nodded. "So that's why you were so determined to play, even when it was dangerous." "Yes," said Zex. "We saw in humans something we had lost. The strength that comes from facing difficulty. Now we have found it again." The next day, it was time for the Zolarians to leave. Their ships were ready to return to their homeworld. John, Maria, and the other humans gathered to say goodbye. "Will you continue playing sports when you return home?" asked John. "We will," said Kira. "We are taking the plans for the gravity modulators. We will build fields where we can play all the sports you taught us. And we have something for you, too," said Ambassador Zex. He handed Captain Foster a data crystal, the complete design of our protection suits. They might be useful for humans exploring dangerous environments. "Thank you," said Captain Foster. "This cultural exchange turned out much different than we expected." "But better than we hoped," said Zex. "We came seeking games. We found something more valuable, a way to grow stronger." As the Zolarians boarded their ships, Kira paused to speak with John one last time. "There is another human sport we didn't try," she said. "Something called ice hockey. It looks very interesting." John laughed. "Maybe next time you visit, but I suggest a lot more training first." "We will be ready," said Kira with confidence. John watched the Zolarian ships depart. He thought about how much both species had learned from each other. The Zolarians had found their lost strength. The humans had found new ways to think about their own sports and abilities. And somewhere out in space, a new game was waiting to be played. One that would challenge both Deathworlders and their new friends.